Hey Collective, this is an energy update where I'm going to cover some ascension symptoms and just ascension in general in the end of October 2020. And this energy will probably extend into mid November as well. So I'm going to start out with some clairaudient channeled messages that I got for the collective regarding just what we are going through energetically right now. So, just to begin with, it is Mercury retrograde right now. It started yesterday. And so, some ascension symptoms that you may be noticing if you are on the ascension journey or the ascension path is some stomach upset or like quivering in your stomach. And this could be from your solar plexus. Your solar plexus is likely sensing the churning of the energies and possible changes in vibrations in the earth. So, this is a really powerful time to connect with Archangel Sandalphon if you connect with archangels, or just a powerful time to connect with the crystalline grid or Mother Earth or Gaia or whatever you call that energy. The energy is really open for us to explore and to connect with, but there are definitely some kind of like hard or intense truths there about what is happening within the planet. And I won't talk too much about that because that's for each of us individually to explore about what our piece of land that we live on is telling us or our connection with the crystalline grid is telling us. But I will say a little bit. So, some of this like quivering sensation you may have internally could be to do with there just is a lot of expansion and contracting within the earth right now. And there could be a possible volcanic eruption that is going to approach fairly soon. And I don't say this to scare anyone or anything. It's just that if you are really in tune and sensitive, you may tune into these kind of subtle vibrations that are literally happening in the earth. This isn't some kind of 5D sensing or something. It's just being in tune with the earth and what's happening in the earth's core. So, with this volcanic eruption, I do think that it will be in the ocean, like something that happens under the ocean. And that could be something that will affect global warming or could happen because of global warming. So that's kind of a quick example of something that you may get coming to you when you do this kind of connecting with Mother Earth. Like I said about these hard truths, there is a lot of information out there to be had about what's happening with climate change and things of that nature, or just with our Earth and our atmosphere. And it can be a little hard to navigate, but the earth itself is speaking loudly. So if you've become overwhelmed with the onslaught of information or even the arguments that are happening in the news media about climate change and a bunch of other things, this is a really good time to just connect with your inner guidance and connect with the one that knows the most about this, which is the earth herself. So another sensation that you may get or ascension symptom right now is dizziness or something that seems like motion sickness, which that's probably nothing new to those of you who have been awakening or awakened for quite a while or on the ascension journey. This is something that happens to us when we're receiving downloads or light codes. And these are just really coming quickly right now for a lot of us. And so that's just something that may come up for you, and reminding yourself that that's something that's happening and that it does incorporate, possibly other dimensions outside of just this 3D dimension, and remembering that parts of your body or your spirit may be leaving this realm at times. Like, say, if you're getting this dizzy feeling and you feel this like ascension download coming on and you lay down and you kind of close your eyes, you may just get these kind of strange sensations. And so you can just remind yourself that, this is a very higher functioning thing that's happening for you and your body and your spirit, and just to kind of relax into that. which doesn't always make those symptoms go away, but sometimes it can be helpful just to like affirm that for yourself and to remind yourself that you are a multidimensional being and that this is really you becoming more attuned and more effective in your, I mean, you might call it astral travel or your spirit journeying or whatever you call that. So just remember that about yourself, and that there are these twists and turns on the ascension path or ascension journey, and a lot of it incorporates sensations that we may never have had before or maybe couldn't have expected because there isn't like a set in stone book that is written about this and what changes will take place with us, both on a physiological level as well as a spiritual level. So something else you may experience is headaches, which is also really common when you are receiving a lot of downloads. And particularly right now, there is a lot of rainbow light codes that are coming in. And so it's hard to describe what that means for each individual, but it just may be something that you're actually seeing with your third eye sensing. Like I said, if you're feeling these downloads coming on and you lay down and you just kind of try to relax and expand into that feeling, you may actually see with your third eye or, see with your eyes closed these rainbow colors, which is really exciting. And so that's going to be downloads that are coming to activate your rainbow light body to help you with some of these ascension symptoms. It's essentially like an upgrade for you. And another thing that's really prevalent in the collective energy is extreme sacral chakra energy. So some of you may even be experiencing this as like pain in your sacral chakra. And so, of course, that is the seat of our sexuality. But this energy that's activating and coming in to be expanded from our sacral chakra has more to do with than just our sexuality or our sexual experiences that we've had in this lifetime. So this energy that's there is actually like boiling up to be able to go into your upper chakras, and there's a lot of creativity there. So there's just like a new portal that's opening to explore how much our sexuality or our sacral chakra has to do with our creative process or our expansion, which I think has really been tamped down over time because that can just be kind of scary or uncomfortable for people to explore. And it's just something that's not talked about all that often. So again, I won't say too much about that, but just know that that energy is there for you to explore, and it is safe for you to explore it at this time. And then I've heard from several other channelers, and you probably have too, that this is a really big time for inner child healing. So my take on it is actually that this is not the classic inner child wounding that we're going into, or like, it's not just like classic shadow work. It's a new time that hasn't been experienced up to this point, where there is a specific portal opening for your inner child to heal. And so for that healing to take place, it might be necessary for you to see in your third eye sensing, like that experience that you had or whatever is coming up for you around your inner child. But it's pretty close, like, pretty quick that this healing takes place. And it's almost just like, you experience that thing and then this light comes through and just takes that from you. And it's a really new type of healing that hasn't been available to the collective yet up to this point. So that's a really exciting time, but it also can be a little scary when you start to sense these things. So again, just remember that these things that are happening for you right now is to upgrade your system, to remove that clutter and baggage that could be weighing down your sacral chakra, because a lot of this inner child stuff is also still living on in your sacral chakra. And sorry if you can hear that, that is my bird singing. So then let's see what other channeled messages I had here for you. So this is also a really strong time of connecting with nature and specifically with birds. Each of you may have noticed that you just are experiencing a lot of birds around you. They may seem like they're trying to tell you something or send you a message. And so that's really neat and cool. And then I also got that pomegranate could be helpful to each of us at this time. And when I just quickly looked up what the benefits of pomegranate are, is it's an antioxidant. It's a very powerful antioxidant. And so that can combat any environmental toxins that we are experiencing right now. So, again, on the note of climate change, and especially because there are so many fires going on right now, even if the fire isn't in your state, there is a lot of smoke blowing around in the atmosphere that can make it to your state. And so when smoke is hit by the sun, it turns into ozone. And so many of you may have been noticing that the symptoms of that lately. Like, you, no matter how much sunscreen you put on, you may be sunburning really easily. It's probably affecting your lungs and your breathing. So pomegranate could be a natural way to combat some of these environmental toxins that we are all, they're out there for each of us. So it also has high vitamin C properties, so that can help to keep you healthy and strong right now. We still are in a pandemic, so this is something that could help strengthen your body. And then it's also an anti-inflammatory, which some of you may have been noticing, just that your body is inflamed at this time for whatever reason. I think that's really common in the collective as well. So if you give me just 1 second, I am going to tell my bird to be quiet, and then I will get some cards and see if there's anything else we can pick up about what the collective is experiencing right now that I didn't get clairaudiently. So just 1 second. Okay, sorry about that, and thanks to those of you who stayed. So let's go ahead and just get some cards and see what Spirit can tell us about the general energy that the collective is experiencing at this time on the Ascension journey. So we have release here, letting go, freedom, and healing. So that goes along perfectly with the channeled messages that we got about this ascension process right now. That just really symbolizes for me the inner child work that's happening and coming up, and that there is freedom from some of these old patterns that have really been weighing us down to this point. Something else I wanted to say about that inner child work and the sexual energy is that a lot of people may have energy that's coming up regarding their parents. And so in our sacral chakra, we can still hold cords or just energy that we picked up in the birthing process. I mean, we are still very connected with our mother in that area. So through meditation or whatever healing practices you use, it's possible right now to clear out those cords. And that doesn't mean that you had a poor relationship with your mother or your father. It just is a healthy time right now to clear out other people's energy, because those cords no longer serve you or your parental figure, because I assume if you are watching this, you are an adult and you're just ready to step into your own power. And for us to truly step into our own power, we have to be clear of other people's energy as much as possible. And so the earth and our guides and our ancestors are assisting us right now in releasing those cords where it may not have been possible to do so before. And then also came out solitude, rest, ponder, quiet, and sanctuary. So, and I'll give you a closer look at that here with this beautiful snowy owl and this winter scenery. So this could be obviously symbolizing later in the year, closer to December or to Christmas time or to winter. There's just really wintry energy there. And actually, in this release card, it looks very windy to me, which for me currently where I live, that is definitely a thing that's going on right now. And it just can be a windy season in fall. So going into winter, I think a lot of us are feeling fairly tired. Um, there's just a lot going on in the higher realms and with all these downloads, and it can just make you feel really tired. But it's also, again, a really powerful time for healing. And some healing has to be done in our sleep because it could be too traumatizing, you could say, to do it in your waking life. And also, we just have some doors or access to some other realms or astral work when we take those times to rest. So I know for many of us, it can feel hard to rest sometimes because you feel like you might be being lazy or something like that. But right now, actually, part of your spiritual work is to accept that rest is something that you need to regenerate right now. So also, because many of us are staying home much more than we were before, again, it's a really powerful time to connect with the crystalline grid and connect with the land where you live. So when we used to go to work like normal every day at a different location or whatever it was that we did outside of our home, you can kind of lose that connection that you had to the land or to that grounded energy. And so now is a really strong time to just strengthen that bond that you have with your space. And this is a really good time to set your sacred space. And you can do that by, actually changing your space or the way it looks. Something that I like to do personally, because I am very energetically sensitive, is I move my furniture around quite a lot. And that really helps the energy flow in my house. And that might not work for everyone, especially people who live in older houses or like historical homes. The house might not like that as much because it's gotten used to a certain way of being. But if that's not your case, I do think it's a good practice just to change the scenery. It helps with your mind process and your thinking. And it also helps because no like unwanted or uninvited energies can get used to that flow of energy and kind of hide in little crevices and stuff. So I find that just really helps to keep my space high vibe. But another way that you can really set your sacred space or make your house or your land feel more sacred and healing for you is, like I said, to work on your connection with the land or work on your connection with Archangel Sandalphon or whatever practices you use to really ground into your space. Because your house is probably getting more used to you and your energy than it ever has before. So right now is just a really good time to open up and expand into that energy and see what you are able to ask of your space so that it can be sacred and be the place for you to transform into this new being and to continue on this ascension journey. So I'm going to just get a few healing cards here and see if there's any healing messages that Spirit would like to share with us at this time in the ascension journey. So we have dedicated effort here that is in the reverse. Here it is in the upright. So it's kind of interesting because this does look like this person could be painting a picture of their parents. I mean, it doesn't have to be. This could also be a scene of, a relationship, but that's what it says to me. To me, it looks like this person is painting a picture and there's their parents and their influence is like a little bit diminished. And again, I don't want to make this sound like anyone has had a poor or bad relationship with their family. I think that just each of us individually, your parents included, are being called to explore their inner self more fully and really being able to identify energy there that might not fully be your own. You're not doing anything wrong or hurtful by removing, these old energetic cords that you have with your parents or your family, because they themselves probably aren't like aware that those are there, and they didn't like attach it with their hand on purpose and say, okay, I want my kid to feel this forever. That's just work we have to do individually. So with the dedicated effort being reversed, it could also mean that there is something at this time that you feel collective that hasn't panned out, even though you've worked really hard at it. So let's see if we can get another message just to clarify dedicated effort in the reverse here. So we have confront that came out in the reverse, and then throat chakra that came out upright. So it just may be difficult for some of you or some of us to confront these childhood issues that we have, because you can see here this man is staring into this doorway, and it's at night on the other side, and there is a child there, this man's younger self. So like I said in the beginning, when you start to experience these past situations that have happened to you, possibly in a meditative state or like a trance state or otherwise, it can be scary when you're like here, when you're just looking through the doorway, but you haven't passed through yet. And some of us might choose to not walk through that doorway because we might be a little burnt out on some other childhood work that we've done over time. But like I said, this is very different childhood work that's happening right now. But in order to fully experience that and to understand the way it's different, you have to step through that threshold, step through that door, and just trust that this is for your highest good. And I think that you will be pleasantly surprised. I mean, it certainly is intense. And it's intense maybe in ways that the other childhood shadow work was not as intense, So I'm just affirming for you that it can feel scary to confront what is asking to be shown to you, but it is ultimately so freeing in a way that you couldn't understand until you do it, that I just want to let you know that Spirit is really encouraging you to experience this for yourself. And then on the other end here, we have throat chakra upright. So this healing for us collective could actually be the doorway to speaking our real, authentic truth, where there's no more fear in just being ourselves. With the dedicated effort reversed, that kind of reminds me of like disappointing. You don't want to be disappointing to your parents or disappointing to someone else. And perhaps that has caused some of us not to speak our full truth because we're afraid that it might be hurtful or just taken out of context or taken the wrong way. But those are just thoughts, and they might not be reality. And so through this work that is being asked of each of us right now, it's actually going to unlock or unblock our throat chakra, which has been an area that's been really affected in the ascension process all year. So this is actually a really exciting time. I think a lot of us have asked for, our throat chakra to be more open. We're ready to connect with other people in a way that we hadn't in the past. And also, like, we are being asked in a very 3D sense to connect with people in a different way or speak to people in a different way because we don't always see them in person. So this is like a real gift that's being offered to the collective right now. And so I feel that what Spirit is trying to say is that while this energy here can be a little scary, before you step into it, and just a reminder, like in the beginning, how I said it's very quick. Like once you go through that threshold or go through that door, it's like very quick at being taken away. And so there's a certain intensity to that too, but it's like it's over, just like bam, like that, and you are free. So I kind of lost where I was going there, but I feel that what Spirit is affirming for each of us or trying to let us know is that this is what you have been asking for. You've been praying about it. You have been, doing your spiritual practices, trying to get to this freedom in your throat chakra to speak your full, authentic truth without afterwards feeling like bad about it or reject it, or, just like not worrying about it, because you can stand strong and powerful in that truth of what you are speaking. So, this is a really exciting time on this journey, collective, and I'm so glad that you're here with me. Thank you for watching, and I'll put my website in the description box below if you'd like to check that out. I have a blog there where I write about some things like this and some other things too, like the symbolism of bird signs. Specifically, I have a new one up, so if you want to check that out, that'd be great, and I'll talk to you again soon. Thanks.